Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel, or welcome to the channel if you're new. So today we're going to be doing part 4 of our July color along. So as always, I have my color combinations book and my swatch book here, and then we are using the Prismacolor primers for this color along. And we've been working in Hannah Lynn's Whimsy Girls Around the World, and the page that we've been working on is Oh Canada. So when we left off last time, we were kind of working on the jacket. We did kind of test an idea out that I had on this page, but it looks way too busy. So I decided to take a picture of our current page and I put it on Pixlr, which is a free photo editing app. And I've been kind of playing around with a color scheme and a way to make her jacket flare a little bit, because I don't like just the normal square plaid or flannel look. I don't know if there's a difference between plaid and flannel or if it's the same thing. I'm not really sure. But I think I figured out what we're going to do. So I'll show you here. Okay, so here is my computer here, and this is what I've come up with. So I really like this color palette. I feel like it goes very well with everything in the back. So if we come in a little closer here, I am going to add a little bit of extra lines. They're going to look a lot nicer than this. It was really hard to add the lines in with a mouse. But we're going to add those extra lines in there, and I think it's going to turn out really good. At least I'm hoping it will. All right, so now that we kind of have a general idea what we're going to be doing, I'm going to zoom on in here, and I did kind of go through with pencil to kind of show which squares are going to be which, just so it's easier to do. So we're going to grab our colors, and I think we're going to keep this pretty straightforward. So we're going to do black, and then we're going to find colors that kind of match the grays that I have on that picture I just showed you guys here. So I think 50% cool gray, and then the 20% cool gray, and that should be good. So I'm just going to go in here. I think all of these colors are generally the same on this side, so I'm just going to erase all of the letters that I had on this side because I kind of know what I'm doing. It's the other side that's a little bit trickier. Okay, I'm going to grab our swatches that we're going to need. Okay, so starting with our black. And for the most part, we're just going to go straight in. I'm not going to go in with an extremely firm pressure though, because we do want to build up that pigment to get a really deep, rich black. We might even leave it kind of textured, I'm not sure yet, but for now we'll just kind of color in the squares and then we'll just go from there. Let me hunt down my coffee here. All right. So I'm just going over with kind of a medium pressure, just going over the area multiple times to darken it up. So our next black box will be right under here. So if you wanted to change up the color of her shirt, you definitely could. Okay, we'll work on this side first. But just so we get this in frame, we'll do this bottom side first here. That way I can just kind of keep the rest of it in frame. So black there, black here. Okay, we're gonna switch to our 50% cool gray. And pretty much every box that is beside the black is gonna be this darker gray. Now, hopefully this is dark enough. I think it should be. I don't want her shirt to be too dark. And then we'll go to the 20% cool gray, and the rest of these squares are going to be colored with this one. It took me a while to wrap my head around this pattern when I was working on the computer on it, but it kind of makes sense now. All right, and then 50% cool gray for pretty much all of these squares that are left. Okay, this part here is going to be dark gray. Again, just basing color. We're going to grab our black and we're going to use this to kind of shade this part a little bit. So we're just going to outline this part black and then just lightly fade it in. Just like that. And then we'll go back in with our 50% and kind of blend into that. Deepen up our color a little bit. I don't think we're going to leave it textured, so let's go ahead and deepen the color of what we have here so far. So I'm just going to add a few more layers in over top to really saturate the paper. Okay, while we're here, we're going to add a little bit of this color along these lighter blocks here, where her chest kind of comes out from behind her arm, or out in front of her arm. Okay, we're going to add a little bit of shadow on the top side of this line here and the top sides of these lines here. So we're just going to add in some color, fade those up. Maybe a little bit coming in from behind the basket here. So like that. We'll switch to our black. We're going to add a little bit of black shading here, just lightly. A little bit on these lines here as well. Just going to grab the 50% again and put a little bit of shadow here on under this line here. And then we'll go ahead and add a little bit more pigment to our black. And I think we'll just use the blender pencil to burnish this, so we can really get that color in there. And then we'll go ahead with our 20% cool gray. We'll color in up here, just with that medium pressure. Now that I'm looking, I actually think this one might have been this. That's okay, we could just pretend her shirt curls this way maybe. We're not going to notice it, it'll be fine. I didn't even notice it till I was just looking at it now. We're going to color in this area. All right, and then we're going to grab our blender pencil. We're going to make sure it has a sharp tip and that it's clean. Okay, once we got that done, then we can kind of get rid of the pencil dust here. We're gonna go back in with the, oh, not that one, the 50% cool gray. And we're just gonna add a bit of a shadow on this part of the shirt here. Apologies if the camera wiggles, Lilo's hopping up on the shelf. What are you doing? What? What's up? Can I help you? Hi, baby. What you doing? Okay, from there we can go back in with the 20% cool gray. If I can grab it here. Having a cat in my hands makes it a little bit more difficult. Oh. All right, and we're just going to fade out that 50% cool gray, and then we're gonna go in really low. Okay, I love you. Yes, I love you. You can either stay on my lap or you gotta get down. Okay, so we're gonna go back in with the blender pencil and burnish this. Make sure your pencil's clean. I just cleaned mine off. And there we go. There's one side of her jacket. Oh, you're so cute. Okay, bye. All right, let me make sure we're still in frame here. The little brat pushed our paper back a little bit. Oh, and I forgot about this part. So let's do the same thing, kind of. We're going to go in with the 50% cool gray right underneath her braid and fade that out. And then we'll go in with the 20% cool gray. Kind of blend that all together. And then again with the blender pencil. And then it's pretty burnished now, but we'll see if we can still do this. So with the black, I just want to create a little bit of a shadow kind of underneath this part here. So just like that, I think. Maybe darken up these shadows here. I'm gonna be really careful once we burnished it because we can't really blend this out. So we gotta be really, really mindful of that. I think that looks good though. Since the pattern is not very three-dimensional, it's mostly just like flat colors, I want to really make sure that the folds and stuff in her clothes have some dimension to them because that will help. Okay, so then here is black. Here is black, right? Yeah, this one is black. Black, 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 black. Okay, so yeah, this one's black here. So now that we kind of have a general idea what we're doing, we'll only have to go over this once for the most part. Just make sure that we add enough pigment to our squares so that we can burnish them and have them still have a rich color. Because unfortunately the blender pencil kind of mutes them down. It adds like a grayish kind of tone to them sometimes. I'm so glad that I took the time to organize and kind of make all of the color along stuff, like my books and stuff, my record keeping, that kind of thing. I'm glad I went through and organized and like simplified everything, because it's making the color along process so much nicer. Before it was just a nightmare. Now that I've got a little bit of a system and it's a more organized system, it's nice to have. Okay, oh, sorry. Bumped you guys. Okay, so black here. And here. Okay, so this one would be black. This one would be black. This one would be black. This one right here is black. I'm not sure where I did at the top black, if any. Okay, so I actually kind of switched it at the top. We're doing this one black, even though technically it would be in the gray and light gray row. So that one's black. Okay. So then let's move on with our 50% cool gray. Oh my gosh, I'm sorry guys. I gotta move this thing out of there. Put it up here instead. Okay, so this one is darker gray. And then this one here is darker gray. So that makes this one here darker gray. I think we're just going to color this whole part in here. And then everything beside the black should be the darker gray, hopefully. Looks like I stayed pretty true to that, so. Again, make sure you're not burnishing, but you're getting a good amount of color on the paper. Okay, this one here, I have as the darker gray, but I don't like that actually. So we're just gonna go in and we're gonna shade some of this. So I'm gonna go right on the center line of this one and then kind of in behind this line. And then I'm gonna go on the side of the line closest to her arm for this one. I like that. Kind of want to make her sleeves cohesive too. Okay, we're gonna shade here. And then underneath her hand, kind of around her fingers here. So kind of like that. We're gonna shade back here. Don't mind Miss Lilo, she coughs a lot. She's got a little bit of a breathing problem. Let's also shade kind of the top of here too, just slightly. Just to kind of show that it's curving out. Okay, I think that looks good. Then let's move on with our 20% cool gray. All right, with that done, then we can pick out any shadows before we go ahead and burnish everything. So we'll start off with our lighter shadows. So the 50% cool gray. So this one will be 50% cool. We'll probably still come in like we did and add the black, but kind of underneath this mug here maybe. Underneath her arm down here. No, we haven't quite done down there yet, but we'll get there. Okay, let's move on to the black. So underneath here, we're going to darken that up a little bit. We're going to darken up back here a little bit further, going back around her neck. Again, underneath the cup. And then kind of along any of the folds in her clothes. We're gonna, oh, we did add black to those, so we'll add a little bit of black here. And then maybe kind of around her arm, unfortunately. I know you can't see it, but I'm going to shade down here, just kind of underneath all of the leaves from the bouquet that kind of comes down, so all around here. This is turning out a lot better than I even pictured, so I'm really happy about that. Okay, so now we're going to go through and burnish. So we're going to start with our light gray. Okay, once we have those done, we're going to move down here and we're just going to finish filling in our colors here. So just to add a little bit more pigment, we're going to go in with the cool gray. The black. And then the 50% cool gray. And then we're gonna go in and burnish those. I forgot to clean my pencil off, so now I have kind of a muddy shadow here. Darn it. Oh well. Okay, medium gray. And the black. So I think she's looking pretty good so far. It's taken us way longer to do just her coat than I thought it was going to. And I know her hair and skin are going to take super long too, so I think I'm going to speed up the color blocking just because it's very basic. Anywhere that I'm explaining what to do, then I'll keep that in there. But color blocking and the burnishing I'm going to speed up to save us some time. With the black, we're going to go in and color the buttons. And then also the holes for the buttons. All right, and now with a fine liner, and a really cheap one. If you don't have a cheap fine liner, I would recommend just going to the dollar store and grabbing one. Don't use any good fine liners you have because the wax from the Prismas will wreck it. Unfortunately, I've learned that the hard way. Okay. We're in frame. So close to the line that Hannah has drawn in here, we're just going to add our own line. Kind of coming down. We're going to try and keep it as parallel to Hannah's line as possible. And we're going to do the same on this side. Okay. See, and then above the black squares and just below them. So then there'd be some on this side too. And this side of this. So I found the trick for me was the detailing had to be on one section. So like we're not going to put the same details here. So we're kind of like skipping a row. So we've got detail, skip, detail, detail, skip, detail. And then it adds a little bit. I did go through on the computer and put details in on the other side too, but it was just too much. I didn't like that. So this is how I'm going to keep it. And then on the other side, we're going to reverse it. Or maybe it's the same actually now that I added, I don't know, either way. We're going to start on this side here. adding in some extra detail, and then see above the black. So like that. I guess this would kind of come down like this. And then let's see what I did for the arms. Okay, so I did kind of do it opposite. So on this side, it was, the next detail was on the right of the black. On this side, it's going to be on the left. So here. Skip a line, so then here. And then it's still above the black for the horizontal lines though. Hopefully this isn't too confusing. I know it was definitely confusing when I was trying to do it on the computer, so I've had some practice. And then let's see, so this is above the black here, so there'd be a line coming this way, and then I don't really know on which one this line would be. So we'll just kind of make it up. We'll do it here. Yeah, that looks good. So then we'll come down here. Our line is on this side. And then above the black, we would skip a line, and we can just draw a slight line on this side to kind of show that it's on that side too, just to add a little bit of extra detail there. But other than that, that's it. I highly recommend taking your fine liner and just kind of drawing with it for a minute. Kind of swiveling around the nib, getting all sides of it, just in case there's any wax buildup on it. When I used my good fine liners, the first time I went over Prismas, it worked right after, but then after I left it for a while, it stopped working. So I was pretty bummed out. All right, that looks so good. Okay, let's tackle, definitely want to get her clothing finished. What time are we at now? Okay, so we're only at 47 minutes. That's not too bad. So I definitely want to get her clothing finished, and we might be able to tackle some of the bits and bobs in the basket and maybe her mug, and then kind of leave maybe the hair and the skin for the last part, because those are going to take the longest. So let's do the shirt. Got Lilo hair everywhere. Oh my goodness, it's everywhere. I was just thinking it's weird that her jacket didn't actually come. It should have came this way. We shouldn't be able to see bushes here. I'm just realizing this. Now that I noticed it, it's gonna bother me. Oh well, okay, we ignore it. We ignore. Okay, so we definitely want, I think it's the sky blue light that I like best for doing shadows. I was playing around with doing kind of like a gray white shirt, but I think the blue will tie in the water and the sky a little bit better. And I think we might want something a little bit darker than the sky blue light, so let's maybe do maybe the light cerulean blue, actually, that might be good. Okay, so I'm just gonna grab those swatches, light cerulean blue and sky blue light. Okay, so we're gonna start with our sky blue light and we are just going to lightly base. Kind of just around the clothing. Because that's where our shadows are gonna be for the most part. So then we can go in with the light cerulean blue. And we're just going to very, very lightly go directly underneath where our shadows are going to be and then immediately fade this out. So we only want like a very thin line of this color. Down here, there's going to be a little bit more, but we want to keep as much white as we possibly can. And we'll just shade under her arm for this one. All right, so kind of like that. Then we'll come back in with our sky blue light, and I'm using a fairly deep pressure, kind of like a medium heavy pressure. I'm going to come in from that cerulean blue and I'm going to blend it out. We can bring the sky blue light out a little bit and fade it out. That's totally fine. We just have to make sure that we leave a fair amount of white left so that way we can tell that the shirt is white and not blue. And thankfully these pencils are pretty light, so it's really easy to fade them out. So you're not really going to notice any harsh lines, even if you're really bad at blending. I think down here for these shadows, I'm just going to pretty much color everything in, but a little bit lighter, and then we'll go back in with white. I'm going to brush this and make sure there's no extra pigment anywhere that's going to kind of wreck the clean white look. And then I'm also going to clean up my whites because it's a little bit dirty from whenever we used it last. Okay, and then we can come in and just start, oh my gosh, I pulled in the black. Okay, if we go over that a little bit, it'll go away. Okay, be very, very careful around the edges. I'm still on the fence about making the maple leaf, Canadian leaf is what I almost called it. I was trying to say Canadian flag and maple leaf at the same time. Kind of still debating on making the whole maple leaf just like red glitter. I don't know if that would be too much since nothing else is really glittery and she's in nature, so. Would her shirt even be glittery? Is she that kind of girl? I don't know. All right, that's literally it for the shirt. And now we can move on to the maple leaf, which I do want to be like a very, oh, do I want it to be bright red or do I want it to be muted red? I don't know. Guys, I need help. Thing is, do we want to keep with our natural look, or do we really want that maple leaf to pop? You know what I'm going to do? If we do color it with glitter, it's going to look brighter anyways, so let's go ahead and do more of like a natural red. It'll still be bright, but just not like super, super bright. So we're going to need the crimson red. The Tuscan red and the black. So we've got the swatch for the black already. Just get rid of some of these pencils here. Okay, so we're going to take our crimson red first. I'm going to sharpen mine. And we're going to do light base. Wondering if maybe I should have used gray for her shirt. I'm having second thoughts here, but I don't know. Hopefully it's okay. Hopefully the lighting's okay too. I think the sun kind of disappeared. Just see what it looks like on film here, and my Tuscan red broke. I think it looks okay. Ugh, I have nothing but problems with this pencil. Okay, I think I got it. I also have pencil shadings everywhere, so that's nice. Okay, so we're gonna go in with the Tuscan red around her collar here a little bit. Gonna create a shadow, and then around the bottom. And we're gonna bring this up about halfway or so, maybe a little more than halfway. You wanna have enough room to have some black in here, and leave enough room to have the brighter red at the very top. Okay, figure out how to shade our maple leaf. I'm gonna come in on the left side of the leaf here, and then the bottom. Let's fade this out. Let's maybe just kind of color in the whole bottom. It's not burnished or anything because we'll add some black to it, but I think we're going to keep the very bottom of the maple leaf fairly dark. Kind of do like an ombre, I think. And kind of curve this shadow kind of down a little bit. Yeah, I think that looks okay. And then we'll come in with our black. Put a little bit more shadow on top of her shirt. And then coming along the bottom. just a little bit. And then here we're gonna let the black mix with the Tuscan red to create like a really dark red. We're gonna bring that up to about here, I think. So it kind of creates like a curve, comes up a little bit higher on the ends, comes down, goes back up on the other end. I'll add a tiny little bit of the black here, but I don't think we need much. We'll go back in with our Tuscan red. We'll start using this to burnish and blend in with the black and then fade it up to leave it for the red. So we'll bring our Tuscan red out slightly on the corners of the leaf here. Try and keep them symmetrical if we can. Just going to keep adding those layers, gently burnishing and blending and fading this color up into where our red is going to be. That looks good, so we'll go in with our crimson red. And this we can just go in pretty much with full force. Really sharp pencil will be helpful. We're going to blend this into our darker colors. It's actually a little bit easier if you blend it out from the shadows. If you try to blend into them, it doesn't create a really nice gradient, unfortunately. Ah, that's beautiful. Okay. I am a fan of that. Coffee mug, I don't really know what to do with. Okay, I looked at some of the pictures in the group for some inspiration, and I think I hooped myself. So I think my original plan was to do it gray, but now if we do that, it will blend into the shirt too much. So I think the coffee mug itself is going to be brown, the moose is going to be black, and then these lines are going to be red. Also, just to tie in the red a little bit more, so see, we're gonna grab our crimson red. So these lines are gonna be red. We're gonna do these berries red. And maybe these outer lines of the napkins or whatever this is can be red. Don't really know what those are. I'm assuming they're napkins. And then I don't know what this thing is either back here, but we can make that red too. Okay. So we'll start with our black. I'm going to add black in on each side of these lines here. You can color in your mousse black. I'm going to use markers to save myself time there, because then I'll have to burnish it too, and that is just an absolute pain. So I'm just adding a little bit of a shadow on the bottom left of each of these berries. We'll add shadow on each of these lines where they kind of disappear in behind something or come out from something. Okay, Tuscan red is next. We're going to bring this out from our black. I've already colored outside the lines here. We'll fade this out towards the red. Our berries are really tiny. We don't have a lot of room for details, so I'm pretty much just going to go over the black with these to make it more red. It's pretty much all we can do. I'm going to curve this Tuscan red part around the smaller side of the napkin. And then we'll go in with our crimson red and just burnish and blend everything. Okay, I am a child and I colored outside the lines a little bit, so I'm just going to fix this here. and right here. Okay, I think that's probably good for our reds. So that kind of ties the red in a little bit. Oh, actually, we might as well, while we have this color, let's do her lips too. Probably skip the black though, because I think that would be a bit too much, but we'll base with crimson red. And then we'll do our shadow with the Tuscan red. So I'm just going to shadow along the outline of her lips here, of her lower lip. And then fade that in. And then I'm going to shadow each side of her top lip, and I'm going to try and put a little bit of a shadow in just along the top of this line here. And then we'll go in with our crimson red and finish coloring this in. It's also a good thing I have to shower today because I spilled coffee all over myself, so that was fun. All right, what else can we do with the colors that we have so far? Before we pull out new colors, so we can do the silverware, and then we can also finish off the napkins. So we'll start with the napkins. I'm going to start off with the cerulean blue, just right where they kind of pop out from the basket. Just lightly. We're doing the same thing that we did on her shirt. We'll come out from that with the sky blue light. I don't think this is a napkin back here. I don't know what that's going to be, so I will probably just color that something random. So we're going to go in with our sky blue light, and we are going to bring it down about halfway and fade it out. Do the same on this side. A little bit of red here. I'm going to see if I can get rid of that. Doesn't really look like it. It's okay. It's not too noticeable, at least. And then we're going to come in with our white. I'm going to make sure it's clean this time, which it is, and we're very, very carefully going to finish coloring in this napkin. I'm going to try to avoid the very edges. The paper is pretty much white already, so this is more just for blending out the blue. I really don't want to pull any red into this if I can help it. Okay, and then for the silverware, we're going to keep this pretty simple. Like most of these small details, they don't need a whole lot of detail. They just need to have some color. So we're not going to focus too much on them. They just kind of add to the picture, but they don't need to be the main aspect of the picture, so you don't need to spend too much time on them. So we're going to start with 50% cool gray. I'm just going to add a little bit of shading to the silverware here. So maybe like the top side of this knife and along the edge of it, a little bit on the fork. So I'm going to assume that this is some piece of silverware too, right here. And then we'll just go in with the 20% cool gray. And kind of blend that together. Okay, that looks pretty good. I'm going to grab my black marker, make sure I have my papers in behind this one. I'm going to color in the moose. See, we could actually do her coffee cup a very, very light gray, maybe. I still think it would blend too much. I kind of actually like the white. All right, goodbye. Maybe like a gray white would be better. Let's do that, because we can do the plates the gray white too. So we'll grab the 50% cool gray. See if we can get the, there we go, the mug and the plates in the same shot. So we got to pick out our shadows. So I'll do this with the deep shadows. Use the 50% cool gray for our really dark ones. So kind of in along where her hand rests on the cup. We're going to want that to be dark. We're going to want the lid kind of up here to be dark. Might even add a really light layer to this front part, like the spout of her cup. And then a little bit of shadow where the mug, the handle attaches to the mug. Okay, so we'll bring these shadows out with the 20% cool gray. These little inner parts up here, I'm just going to color those in. This one will be black, this little spot here. So we'll add some shadow along the bottom of the cup. We'll bring this up a little bit more. We're going to put some shadow in here. So I'm using a fairly heavy pressure for this. This is going to be our normal shadows. All along the bottom here and here. And then around the outside line of the handle. up to here, and then the inside line of the handle up here. Everybody's got to mow their lawns today. Okay, let's go back in with our 50% cool gray because I forgot about the plates. So we got to decide kind of which way these are sitting. To me, it looks like this is like the back of the plates. So I'm actually going to create a shadow going around the outer line here. And then a shadow also to separate the two plates. And a very light one kind of under her arm here. You can also add a little bit of a shadow around the center to kind of make it look like it kind of divots in a little bit. And where the plates kind of come out from behind stuff too. This is going to bother me. This needs to be fixed here. So we're going to add a shadow in here and another one here. And we're going to add a line here because that's supposed to come through the handle of the jug. Don't know what I did with my fine liner. Okay, I'll use a different cheap one that I have. So I'm just going to grab my fine liner here. I'm going to create a little bit of thicker line here to show the outside of the plate, and then a thin line just kind of right here. You can hardly see it, but just a little bit to show that circle there. Okay, so then we can come in with our 20% cool gray, and we're going to do the same thing that we did for the mug. Just going to bring these shadows out and fade this out. Make sure we're leaving an area of light. Down here doesn't matter. I'm just going to mostly color that in because it's going to be pretty shadowed down there. All right, and then lastly, we can come in with our white and finish everything off. Okay, there's the plates. Just want to color over the mousse to see what that would look like. I don't like it. But that's an easy fix. I'm just going with my blender pencil. Ooh, maybe not an easy fix. We go in with the black. This is what I was trying to avoid. And I had to do it anyways. But oh well, at least now I know. Okay, and we'll also just color in this little part right here black. Okay, I think for this part, since I'm going to speed up some of the plaid, we'll definitely leave skin and hair for the last part. So I'm going to I think color in all of these details here. I think that makes the most sense to me. Don't really know color-wise what to do though. Let's start with these. Oh no, I ran out of coffee. Okay. Well, we're almost done anyways. I kind of want those to be bright. I'm gonna grab, let's see, dark green. Where is it? Grass green. Spring green. And chartreuse, but for the grapes, we're gonna want the light green. All right. Which one don't I have before? There we go, the dark green. All right, pulled swatches. It's so much faster than having to sort through my cards. I don't mind doing it while I'm filming. Hopefully you guys don't mind either, because constantly pausing and unpausing is a pain, and I don't like risking it because sometimes I pause and I forget to unpause, and then we lose footage, and I don't like that. Okay, so we're gonna start with our dark green. I'm gonna come in and just kind of pop this randomly, specifically kind of underlines and stuff, anything that looks like it's above something else. We're gonna add a little bit of a green shadow in underneath it to really show that it's separated. Once we have a balanced amount in here, we can switch to our next color. I don't know if this is a flower or bushes. I think I'm going to do that as a flower. Since it kind of looks more closer to the petals to me than the leaves. Oh, sorry, I wasn't using this swatch. That was the dark green. Okay. Grass green. Actually, let's kind of work on these at the same time. Let's go back to the dark green. We're just going to color in the bottoms of these grapes. And then this is probably the bread coming in, but we're going to make this all grapes back here too because I don't want to grab those colors again. All right, so grass green, this is going to come out from our dark green. I'm just going to add this pretty much everywhere we put the dark green, but I'm not going to fade it out any. We want to leave as much room as possible for our other two colors. Probably not even going to put it everywhere with the grass green, just wherever I see. So I'm just kind of moving randomly around here. That way I will most likely end up missing some areas, but my OCD won't notice. Okay, I think that looks good. Actually, let's add a little bit of a shadow to these kind of leaves poking out here. So otherwise they might end up looking a little bit too light. This one here too. There we go, that's better. Back in with the grass green. I'm just gonna lightly go over these as well. Making sure to leave a decent amount of white. I keep forgetting I'm working on both of these at the same time. I should stop doing that. Okay, next is spring green. So this one, I'm gonna go over the shadows. I completely burnished them. I'm just gonna leave little tiny bits of white for our lightest green, which is the chartreuse, but we don't want that one to overpower, so just little tiny spaces. It doesn't have to be everywhere. Okay, the stems, I think, probably do a bit darker maybe. Let's go in with the dark green and we're just gonna kind of create some lines with the dark green following the lines that Hannah already has drawn in there. And then we'll shade along the very top. Maybe a little bit on the bottom. We'll go in with our grass green and I think just finish coloring them in. We'll leave them really dark. Nice contrast between the top and the bottom of the bouquet, maybe. I think that looks cute. All right, so then in with our chartreuse. I'm gonna sharpen mine again. I leave all my pencils unsharpened. Oh, it broke. Oh. Why do you do this? Stop breaking. I love you. Please stop. Oh my gosh. This is way worse than the Tuscan Red. I try a different sharpener. Ow. Okay, got a little tiny baby tip, but it'll work. It just keeps crumbling. I don't know why. Okay, so now we're just going to go over those light areas and color it in with this. I'm not going to go over everything because it'll give it too much of a yellowed glow. So just specifically where we left uncolored. Unless you like that yellow glow, then you can do it over pretty much everything. Just gonna go over everything that doesn't look burnished enough. Put a little bit on the stems to give them a little bit of yellow. Okay, that's it there. So now we're gonna go in with our true green, or light green, sorry. I'm going to color in these grapes. I'm not burnishing them. I'm just going in and coloring everything in. And then the chartreuse we'll use to burnish them. I think I want to leave this basket kind of red and white. So I'm going to grab the crimson red. And I'm just going to outline these lines. I know this is going to look kind of silly for now, but hopefully I can achieve what I'm going for. Okay, we're going to go in with the 50% cool gray. And in these areas here, we're going to try to avoid the red a little bit. Put a shadow in underneath the napkins. Try and fade it out. So mostly just like coloring in the squares and fading them out. It's kind of silly, but hopefully it works. This whole back piece I'm just going to lightly shade in. Actually, this one too. And then right here. Okay, I think that looks okay. I just missed, I see that, oh yeah, right here. Missed a line here. And then we're gonna go in with the white and we're gonna sharpen it, make it really nice and pointy. Mine will let me. Okay, and then we're just going to smear it around. So little circles, smearing it everywhere. And there we go. So if we want to make these lines stand out a little bit more, we can grab a red fine liner and kind of draw them back in. You could probably even do black and have it look even better, actually. I don't know where my black fine liner went. Oh, actually, I think it was this one. Yeah, for me personally, I think I like the black better. You could do whichever one you want. You could even do like black lines going sideways and do like the red lines up and down, kind of like this. Looks neat. You could do black lines all throughout. Or you could just leave it as is, because I mean, that effect looks kind of cool too. So that is a personal preference on the way that you could do this. And again, make sure you use your fine liner on a scrap piece of paper to clean the nib of any wax that it might have picked up. Scribble around for like at least a good minute. I'm not too worried about my fine liner because I have spares and these are really cheap. I paid like $1.50 for them at the dollar store, so I'm okay if they stop working. I can just grab another one. Okay, for this puddle up here, I'm just gonna grab my light green and I'm gonna kind of color that in. I'm gonna put a little bit of the chartreuse over top and then the white, and that's it. So I totally forgot about that. So we're just gonna leave it like that. It looks like a weird bush, but it's okay. A little bit of wax bloom there. The flowers, I don't really know what color I want to do those. And the maple syrup, what color do we do that? Okay, artichoke and ginger root, I think. Start with those and kind of see what we can create. So the closest colors, I think, to what I'm envisioning. Oh, helps if I put them on the page. Okay, so artichoke. Just gonna kind of create like a vignette around this label. And then we're gonna go along the outside. Create some shadows. Fade that in a little bit. And we'll just finish this off with the ginger root. That's going to give us kind of like that classic maple syrup bottle look. I'm gonna grab just a couple oranges here. I don't know if they're the same ones we used for the trees, but I'm gonna try and go similar to that. Okay, so we're gonna start with dark umber. Just gonna lightly color in this cork here. And then just add a little bit of this color to the leaves. Okay, yellowed orange is next. I'm just gonna bring this kind of randomly in on the leaves as well. Maybe actually let's do the, no, we'll do the border black. I don't really like that. And then we'll finish this off with the Spanish orange. So that'll kind of tie our other trees together. So then the muffin wrapper, we'll do dark umber lines, a little bit of shadow along the bottom. And then I think we're just gonna color that in with white because I don't want the wrapper to be too dark. But I also want it to kind of look like you can see the muffin through it. So I think that's the best way to do that. This, I have no idea what to do with this. I really don't. Dark umber it is, I guess. I want to use a darker color because I put the red in here. So I'm going to create a shadow kind of coming in from behind the plates and the maple syrup jug. And then I'm going to use my white, finish off the cork here. And this, what I'm assuming is a box of some sort, but I don't really know. There, I think that looks okay. I'm going to grab my black and just color this in black. Create a little bit of a black shadow underneath the lip of this bottle here to distinguish that a little bit more. Maybe just kind of around the whole bottle itself. Not the whole bottle, but like parts of it. Make it kind of look aged. I think would look cool. I think that looks kind of neat. Okay, and then lastly, the flowers. I think we stick to the yellows. I don't really want to bring any other colors into this. So we're already kind of at the max for colors, like we're not going to be able to balance them because everything else is already colored. Let's do dark umber and then the Spanish orange. This is going to be kind of like a weird combination, but I think it's going to work. I'm going to color the very center of them with the dark umber and then just lightly bring it out into the petals just a little bit. Oh, sorry, dark umber. So we're going to do this with all the flowers. And then we'll go in with our Spanish orange. Oh, I have the sunburst yellow. Oh well, okay, this is sunburst yellow, not Spanish orange, I'm sorry. I'm gonna drag up from the dark umber. Let's kind of help blend these together. Oh, I wasn't thinking, we could have also left these white. That would have been cute too. Oh well, yellow it is. I wasn't thinking white, I was trying to think of color for flowers. But that works. All right, and then we're gonna grab our Posca and we're gonna add in some highlights. I'm gonna zoom out so we can kind of do everything all at once. Just slightly. Okay, so we're gonna add some dots back to the buttons. 4 on each if we can. Let's add a little bit of shine to our moose. Make him look a little bit more interesting. Don't want to touch the shirt. I want to keep that relatively plaid looking. We do want to put a little bit of shine on the berries. I'm just putting like tiny little dots. There's not really much room to put an actual shine on them, unfortunately. Put little dots in on the centers of the flowers. Add a white highlight for the on top of the bottle here. Try to add a highlight on the plates, but I don't think it's going to work. We can on the silverware though, that'll show up. A highlight on the grapes. Maybe little bits of highlight for the stems on the flowers to add a little bit to those, and then just going to add a highlight to the left of these red lines, or black lines, I guess. They're both. I think I'm only going to do this for the vertical lines though. I'm going to leave the horizontal lines as is. So just like that. I think that's everything I would want to add a shine to. Actually, I lied. There's her lips, and then I think that's it for now. I don't know if I like that. Let's connect this one together. Still don't like that. Oh no, I smudged it on her face. I never thought of that. Let's not wreck this picture. Okay. I think this needs to be closer to the top of her lips. I think that's a little better. I don't know, I still don't like it. That's what I should have done the first time. Crimson red. It's the color of the lips, so we can easily get rid of that. I don't know if I really like either of those. All right, let's leave her lips for now. Okay, I'm gonna zoom out, don't mind the mess. All right, so that's what we have so far. All we have left is skin and hair, and that is it. I'm super excited for that. So a little bit worried about doing all of these little accents, but I think we were able to keep them super neutral, and they will all kind of go with the page since we used colors from the background itself. The only ones I'm kind of worried about is the bouquet. They're very bright. I do kind of like that though, and I feel like since we went with the yellow toned flowers, that kind of ties everything in and makes this not as bright as it could have been. So I think maybe that's actually a good thing. I'll have to find the perfect hair color because I haven't quite gotten that perfect brown red color that I want yet. So I'm going to look around and see if I can find someone else who has. And yeah, we have one more part left and then she's going to be done. I can't wait. As always, I hope you guys are enjoying. I hope I can see you in the last and final part. And yeah, take care and I'll see you next time. All right, guys, bye.